fluffy, tart body fur.
So I built 5 apartments with different rooms, like this bedroom with a TV, a living room, this gaming room with a computer, this kitchen, and this bathroom. So now we can cover the building with a wall and add more people to live here. Okay, now the new citizens of this town have homes to live in, but this town is still as empty as my wallet after I buy Lego. So the next thing I'm gonna add is a farm, because this town needs its own source of food to feed the people living in it. So first, I built this giant barn full of cows that will supply milk. And outside, I also built this small coop full of chickens, that way we can get eggs. And I even built this giant field full of vegetables that we can grow and harvest. Wow, this looks so much like a real farm that I'm starting to talk with a country accent. Okay, now that we have all this food, it's time to feed the citizens. So to do that, we're gonna open up this town's very first grocery store. So inside, I built shelves full of all the different food items that people can purchase. And just like that, now this town has its own food supply, so the citizens can finally eat. Oh, except that guy. I don't think we fed him on time. Okay, the next thing this town needs is a road. So I have these special Lego plates, and they're designed to look exactly like a real road. So I'm gonna build a giant road for this town using them. Again, don't ask me how much money I spent. And to go on the road, I even built some 2D Lego cars, like this one, which is supposed to be a pickup truck. I also added some stoplights to tell the cars when to go. Okay, for this next challenge, I'm gonna build a Lego police station because every town needs one of those, right? So I built this one with several different levels to add different rooms. So on the first level, I built a computer room so the police officers can scan for criminals. For the second level, I'm gonna build a meeting room where the officers can make important announcements and discuss plans. For the third level, I built this gym where the officers can train and get stronger. So I built this punching dummy, this pull-up bar, these weights, and at the end of their workout, they can celebrate by eating some donuts. And on the final top level, I built a small prison with cells to put all the criminals. Free my boy. Okay, and now our Lego police station is finished, and oh yeah, I also built this police car. But now we can move on to the next Lego build, and this time I'm gonna build a fire station. So I built this one with a giant golden bell on the very top to alert people when there's a fire. I also built this small 2D fire truck. And the final emergency service that this town needs is a hospital. So I built one across the street from the police station, and inside I built a surgery room where minifigs can get any new body part put in. And not gonna lie, that sounds really creepy, but that's how I imagine minifigs actually have surgery. So basically plastic surgery. And on the second level, I built a baby delivery room where pregnant mothers can give birth. I even built my own Lego gender reveal. Okay, finally this is starting to look like a real town. And why does this honestly look like something I'd see on Google Satellite View? Okay, the next thing I plan to build for this town is a Lego school. That way the people living here don't become dumb, but become smart. So first I built the outside of the school, and when you remove this wall, you can see the inside, where I built this classroom with desk for the students, a small shelf full of books, and a desk for the teacher. And up front there's a smart board so the students can watch educational videos. And outside the school, I built a small playground with 2 swings that I built using these chains. Okay, we built a school on this block, but now on this block, I'm gonna build a Lego park. So first, I built this long sidewalk that will go through the park so people can walk or ride their bike. And in the actual park, I built some trees like this one, which has apples growing on it. It looks like something out of a Dr. Seuss book. I also built a small picnic bench where 2 people are going on a small date with each other. I also built this basketball hoop, and I even built this tiny skateboard park. Okay, and now I'm out of space to build, so on to the next block. There's not much space, so what if I built a small fast food restaurant? And my plan is to build a Lego McDonald's. So I built my own custom McDonald's logo, and inside I built a small workstation to make the burgers with every ingredient. I even invented my own TD Bricks McDonald's collab meal. So you get a burger, some fries, a shake, and a cookie. Okay, now let me get one. Okay, this town is almost finished, but next, I'm gonna let my subscribers tell me what to build. This first person told me to build a bank, so I'm gonna build one on this small empty block, and inside I built this vault where we can put all the money. This next person told me to build a gas station. So I built one with a single gas pump, and I even built this small convenience store with a slushy machine and this rack full of snacks and drinks. Another person requested a barber shop. So I built this one, and inside there's a giant rack full of hairstyles to pick from and a professional barber to give you a fresh cut. This person told me to build a forest, so I built one using lots of trees, and I even added some animals, and I even built this pond for ducks and fish. Someone told me to build an airport, so I made this one with an airstrip and an air traffic control tower, and I even built this tiny plane to transport passengers. And for the final request, someone told me to build a house. Wait, why are the cops here? Okay, now it's time to add the final but biggest thing to this town, and my plan is to build a giant shopping mall. So inside, I built a long hallway with 6 empty rooms, and I'm about to turn each one into its own separate store. Okay, this first one is a shoe store. Next, I built one of those expensive designer clothing stores that's named something that I can't pronounce. Usually that's how you can tell if it's expensive. Every mall also needs a tech store, so I even built a tiny Apple store. I also built a Lego store and Lego. I also built a bubble tea shop with blenders to make the drinks and those iPads that will flip towards you and make you pay a $50 tip. And for the final store, I built a GameStop where you can buy video game CDs, controllers, and gaming systems, or you can even trade your entire collection of games for 50 cents. Oh yeah, of in-store credit too. Yes! Let's freaking go. Now this Lego town is finished. That was supposed to be confetti. Look at how flat this is. If I go to the side, you can hardly see it. It looks just like a real town. Also, this makes a great piece of artwork in my room. Comment what you want to see me build next. I'll see you in the next one.
On my mini fix, put your place against up in the air. We be cruising to the city like we just don't care. We be running up that Lego money like an ATM. I be dripping with that Lego wash, catch me with the band.
When your teeth are sensitive, even biting into a popsicle can hurt. Try new Sensodyne Clinical Repair.
Wait a minute, get it how you live it. 10 toes in when we standing on business. I'm a underground.
These are 100 Lego children, but today we're gonna be educating them because I'm gonna build a giant Lego school with classrooms, teachers, and everything else that a school could need. So anyway, let's go. Let's begin by introducing the students who will soon be going to the school. This kid looks like that one bully who's gonna make me give him his lunch money. There's also the one spoiled rich kid, the cool popular kid, the nerdy kid, the emo kid, that one kid who got held back 10 grades, and finally the class clown. Wait, no, I didn't mean it like that. Now, before we begin building the school, the first thing that our students need are school supplies. So let's quickly run to the store and purchase them. Okay, step 1 complete. Now we have all the essentials like pencils, these notebooks, backpacks, and lunch boxes. And for these, I just use briefcases. And now that our students have their school supplies, they're ready to start learning and getting smarter. So it's time to begin building the Lego school. And we have a lot of land to build it on, so we have no time to waste. The first thing I'm gonna build is the entrance to the school. So I built this long hallway where soon all the classes for the school are gonna go. I added lockers, that way the students can put their valuables away. A vending machine full of drinks, drinking fountains, a bell so people can know when class is over, and a speaker so the principal can make announcements. And now that our school has begun, we can now introduce the first staff members that will be working here, like the principal, the janitor, the school nurse, and school nurses love ice, so I even gave her some ice. And I also built all the teachers who will soon be teaching the different subjects here. But most importantly, every school needs a name, so I'm gonna name it Plastic Valley Elementary because it makes sense since Lego is literally plastic. Okay, now that our school has begun, it's time to build the first subject on our list, which is math. So in this corner of the school, I'm gonna build a Lego math class. Inside, I built this desk for the teacher with a computer, this chalkboard, that way he can explain things to the class, and I even built all these desks for the students. And now that our first class is complete, it's time for the students to have their first day of school. But to get to school, they need a school bus. So that's the next thing we need to build. Okay, so I built this school bus, which has a removable roof, and inside are plenty of seats. We all know the loud, annoying kids are gonna sit in those back ones. There's a spot up front for the bus lady to drive, and this door, that way kids can get on and off the bus. So now we can send off the bus to go pick up kids from their houses and bring them to school. Okay, everybody is now in school, and these people already took their first quiz, and they got their grades back. And now that that's finished, it's time for them to progress to the next period on our list, which is science class. So next to the math class, I'm gonna build a Lego science laboratory where people are doing different experiments. Like this kid is dissecting a piece of chicken, this kid's looking at stuff through a microscope, and this kid's trying to make a potion. What the heck is he mixing? And now that the students are getting smarter, I think it's time to reward them with a quick session of recess. Yes, everyone's favorite time during school. So in this area of the school, I'm gonna build a Lego playground. Okay, now we can start adding things that a playground would have. The first thing I built is this giant slide, and to build the actual slide, I'm using this giant Duplo piece. But fun fact, it actually fits perfectly with real Lego bricks. I also built this working swing and this carousel that can rotate. Okay, let's see how fast we can spin it. No way! Bro is so nonchalant about that. I also built one of those springy chairs you sit on that go back and forth. And to build the actual spring that makes it work, I use this flexible tube piece. And the final thing I'm gonna add is this seesaw that I built using a long plate. Okay, now that the playground is finished, I think that's enough playtime, so on to the next class. Our next subject is English class. So time to build the next classroom to add to our school. I use these special tiles with letters to build the alphabet. And up front, there's two kids giving a class presentation. Okay, just by looking at this presentation, I can tell one person didn't even contribute and the other person probably finished it the night before. Okay, now to continue building this school, it's gonna cost money. So I think this school should have its very own fundraiser. So to do that, I built this wagon and I'm gonna fill it up with cookies. So now the students can go knock on people's doors and sell them. And now that the cookies have been sold, we have lots of money and I feel like I'm in a rap music video. So we're ready to continue expanding the school. And the next thing that every school needs is its own bathroom. So in this space, I'm gonna build two bathrooms, one for girls and one for boys. But of course, everyone knows how scary it can actually be going into a school bathroom. Because while you're trying to go, there's a chance that one random kid will spawn and try looking underneath the stall at you. The next thing the school needs is its own library. So next to the bathroom, I built a small library and I built these books using tiles. In the back, there's a quiet zone where people can read, where I added these two couches and this relaxing looking wall which looks like a sky full of clouds. And when you're ready to check out your books, you can come up to this desk where there's a librarian ready to scan them. Okay, the next class we're gonna build for our school is PE class, because instead of exercising our brains, we're now gonna exercise our bodies. So I built a Lego gymnasium with a basketball court, and one of the most popular PE activities of all time is dodgeball. So I have these tiny balls, and now we can give them to the students so they can play. Uh-oh, this kid needs to go to the nurse's office. But we actually haven't built a nurse's office yet, so that's the next thing we need to make. There's a chair for patients to lay down in, and everyone knows that school nurses love ice, so I actually built an entire cooler full of it. So now the school nurse can get to work. Oh yes, perfect. Actually no, he needs more. Every school needs its own sports, and the most popular sport in the world is soccer, so why not give this school its very own soccer team? I built this team of students and they're ready to play, but they need a place to practice, so outside in front of the school, I'm gonna build a soccer field with two goals that I use these nets to build. But most importantly, every team needs its own mascot to represent it. So what about the Lego City hot dogs? Okay, that's very embarrassing. We're definitely getting bullied for that. What about the Lego City chickens? Yeah, no, not that either. Or the Lego City Sharks. Oh yeah, that's more like it. Sounds very tough. And now that our team is ready, we can send them off to play their first game. And while they do that, let's build the next class to add to our school, which is art class. Inside, there's a table where people can paint, and it looks like they're already working on their first assignment. There's a cabinet in the back with bottles of paint, and in the very corner, there's a bin where students have to put their phone because no phones are allowed in class. Nope. Okay, now before sending the students off to their next class, it's time for a quick lunch break. So in the middle of the school, I'm gonna build a cafeteria where they're gonna eat. It looks like this table's where all the popular kids are sitting, and for today's meal, it's apples and pizza. And now that the students have eaten, their brains are nourished and they're ready to continue their day. Okay, every school has bad kids, like this kid who's cutting in line at lunch, this kid who's using his bathroom pass to play games on his phone, and this kid's pushing another kid off the slide. So the next thing we need to build is a principal's office to send them to. The principal is extremely strict, and she even has a phone on her desk. That way she can call the students' parents and tell them what they did. There's a filing cabinet to keep all the students' records, and there's even a couch where the students will sit for their timeout. The next class on our list is special because it's actually an online class. So my plan is to build a Lego Zoom call. I started by building this giant black screen with buttons on the bottom, and I left empty spaces to put all the cameras of the people in the call, like the teacher who's ready to teach the class. This first student forgot that his camera's on. This student is trying to take a nap while calling, and this kid has really crappy internet. Okay, we only have one more class left until our school is finished, but there's a few more things that every school needs, like an auditorium where the school can hold special meetings and events. Like right now, the students are putting on their very own talent show. Every school also has clubs, so I built a room for all the school clubs to take place in, like chess club, robotics, photography club, and debate club. They're debating right now if pineapple should be on pizza. And now, we're ready to build the final class for our school, and this time, it's music class. So there's a conductor with sheet music ready to lead the class, and everyone else has their instruments and is ready to play. Let's freaking go! Our Lego school is finally finished. Wait, what's Drake doing here? But to celebrate this brand new Lego school, I think we should send the students off to their very first school field trip. So they're gonna go to the zoo. And while they do that, I think it's also time to give this school its very own yearbook. Okay, let's see how it turned out. Okay, wow, that actually turned out really good. Very well done. But I also just realized I think this school is about to experience its very first snow day. Okay, it looks like school is getting canceled for a week. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one.
On my mini fix, put your against up in the air. We be cruising to the city like we just don't care. We be running up the like our money like an ATM. I be dripping with the like a wash, catch me with the bands.
Now, lift your left leg into a bird of paradise position.
Today, I'm gonna build a giant Lego battle between 1,000 minifigures, adding weapons, giant structures, and simulating different attacks at the end. Anyway, let's go. Okay, here's my plan. I'm gonna build 2 civilizations from around the world to go to battle with each other. So my first step is to build a battlefield for them to fight. Okay, now the first thing that every battle needs are soldiers. So let's begin by adding the first 10 soldiers to each army. On one side, I built medieval knights armed with swords, and on the other side, I built Japanese samurai warriors that they'll be going to battle with. But this is the most basic Lego battle I've ever seen. So let's increase our first army from 10 soldiers to 100 of them. Wow, this looks like the copy and paste button in real life. But the other army is now outnumbered, so let's add more soldiers to the other army. And some of these soldiers have different weapons like ninja stars or these metal claws. Okay, now both armies are equally matched, and this is looking much more like a real battle. But my goal is to make this battle so big that it takes up the entire table. Okay, our soldiers are ready for battle, but they need weapons to fight. So the first weapon I built is a giant catapult that launches bolters. Okay, let's see if it works. Huh? Okay, that wasn't supposed to happen. Okay, I used a different piece. Let's try it. Nice. The second weapon I built is a giant crossbow. There's a seat to put a minifig, that way the person can control it. It can be adjusted to shoot at any angle, and it works just like a real crossbow because it can be loaded with these giant arrows and shot using a rubber band. Okay, new weapon unlocked, so we can add that to the battlefield. Okay, we've added a weapon to each army, and at the end, we're gonna test them in battle to see how much damage they can do. But first, let's add another 100 soldiers to each army. So now there's 400 total minifigs on this battlefield right now. But this time, I've added minifigs with bows and arrows. So for my next plan, what if we built giant towers that they can shoot from? So on one side of the battlefield, I built 2 towers. Each tower has 3 separate levels, which allow people to attack at different angles, and I added a ladder on the back that people can use to climb up and down the tower. Okay, we just built towers for the first army, but now we need to build towers for the other army. So let's quickly grab some resources to build them. Nice. Okay, now we can build the next tower, so I built 2 of them. But these ones have tiny windows that the archers can shoot through, and above each window is a door that can shut and block any attacks. Okay, I think it's time to add more soldiers to the battlefield, but this time we're gonna add them on horses. On these horses, I added plate pieces on the side to act as armor, and on these horses, I added a small chariot in the back that they can pull, and each chariot can fit a single rider, and I built these small weapons that shoot arrows. Okay, let's try all of them. Nice. And to feed the horses, I built this Lego cart full of apples. There's other little things we can add to this battlefield, like spikes to go in the ground, and I built this random weapon, and it's a giant ball on the end of a chain. Wow, it's really effective. Okay, the next thing that this battlefield needs is a medical tent to heal any soldiers that are injured in battle. So I built a small tent with a bed, basic medical supplies, and a highly trained doctor. I also built a small wagon that can be pulled to help transport any injured soldiers around the battlefield. So now, if a soldier is injured, he can get proper medical attention. Okay, our battlefield has grown a lot more, but I think it's time to add more soldiers. So on both sides of the battlefield, I'm gonna add an additional 100 soldiers. So now we're looking at 600 soldiers in total. But there's still more empty space on the battlefield, so my next plan is to build a giant fortress to put soldiers. So I started by building a giant wall with a staircase going to the top, making this fortress harder to access. And on top of this large wall, I'm gonna build the actual fortress. So I made this Japanese-style castle. To enter the castle, you climb these stairs and enter through this large wooden door that opens. I added 4 towers on each corner and a large tower in the very middle, and you can actually open it up and see the inside. But there's nothing in here, so let's customize it and add different rooms. The first room I built is a training room for soldiers to practice their combat skills with a large mat and training equipment. And for the second level, I'm gonna turn it into a large storage space to put different things that people would need in battle, like a range of different weapons and food supplies. Okay, the fortress is finished, but now we need to build one for the other army. What if we built a giant medieval castle? Now, I've never seen a castle or been inside of one. So before building one in Lego, I drove 2 hours from my house to visit an actual castle built in the real world. So after exploring it, I took notes, and I have lots of ideas now that I can use to build my own castle. My first step was to build a giant wall surrounding the castle, a large moat full of water, and I built this working drawbridge. Okay, lower the bridge. Okay, it works. Now we can continue building the castle. So I built a tower on each corner of the castle to put a guard, small platforms around the wall to put more guards, and I built one giant tower in the very middle. Now something we can add to our castle is a small prison to put captured people with torture devices.
Hey bro, so we're executing you for committing an illegal Lego technique.
And in the largest tower of the castle, I saved an empty room, so I'm gonna turn it into a small Lego prison for captured soldiers. And inside, I put a bed of nails, a small bucket of drinking water, another bucket to poop in, and rotten chicken. The worst part, though, is that there's no Wi-Fi. Okay, I think our castle is now finished. So now that we've built a fortress for each army, our battle is almost finished, so let's add the final wave of soldiers. And after adding all of them, there's now 500 soldiers in each army, so that's 1,000 minifigs in total. Oh my gosh. The minifigs almost fill up the entire table, guys. Okay, and now that both armies are complete, it's time for them to battle each other. For this first attack, let's see how much damage we can make with the catapult we built earlier. Okay, we just lost 13 soldiers from that. But compared to how many more are left, that's nothing. Okay, for this next round, we're gonna attack the other army, but this time with the giant crossbow. Okay, that did way more damage than the catapult. And after counting, we've lost 38 soldiers from that attack. Bro got hit so bad, he's upside down. Okay, it's time to attack the other army. But this time, we're gonna see how much damage we can make with the Nerf gun. Nice. That was a nice comeback. And from that attack, we've lost 34 soldiers. Okay, it's time to step it up. So for these final few attacks, I'm gonna do them outside because we're gonna use tiny explosives and see how much damage we can make. Okay, here we go. Okay, that did a lot of damage. And from that attack, we've lost 77 soldiers. And now, it's time for one final attack, but this time, we're going to attack the medieval castle with 100 fireworks that will go off all at once. Wow, well, that castle got completely destroyed. And from that last attack, we've lost a total of 79 knights and 124 samurai. So the knights have taken that dub. This is like a real-life version of a battle I'd imagine in my head. Go tell your dog to watch this video. I'll catch you in the next one, and see you later.
Feeling like a minifig, cause I'm in my element. We be sticking to the end, we be sticking, let it click. I pop in the Lego car and pull up in a whip. On brick, 2 brick, rap brick, blue brick.
Are you gonna finish that skinny pop? Because I cannot get enough of this.
This is a giant chunk of Legoland that goes several bricks deep. And in this video, I'm gonna be turning it into a massive Lego underground survival base. Then at the end, I'm gonna put it through some difficult catastrophes to see if it will survive. Let the challenge begin. Okay, so this dirt chunk is over 40 bricks deep and almost 100 bricks wide. Yeah, we got a lot of building to do. So it's time to dig down and build the first room to our survival base. The first step is building the entrance to our base, so I built this functional door that literally blends in with the ground. And now it's time to build the first essential room to our survival base. So I made this small storage room with different supplies that we'll need to survive down here, like food rations and medical supplies. And this is only the first of 15 different rooms I plan to build, each one getting bigger and crazier. But since we're underground, it's still dirty and it's freezing cold. So another essential room we're gonna need in our survival base is a place to sleep. So I turned this next space into a cozy bedroom, and the space next to that, I built a bathroom with a sink, toilet, and a walk-in shower. And in the same room, I'm gonna build a giant closet with tons of clothes that our minifig can wear. So now we have 3 essential rooms to our survival base. And after all that building, I think it's time for a quick nap. For this next room, I want to build an indoor garden with fruits and vegetables. That way we can have a self-sustainable source of food. So I quickly speed built a room with these planter boxes, and all we have to do now is plant some seeds and water them. And there we go. Now using indoor lights, we have a thriving garden where we can now grow all sorts of different fruits and vegetables to eat. Another essential room we're gonna need in our survival base is a room to store weapons, because in the case of an emergency, we might need them. So here's a variety of different weapons, from guns to rocket launchers, grenades, all the way to bows. So the next room we're gonna add to our survival base is a giant locker room to put all of them. Nice, now I feel like I'm in a Call of Duty loadout screen. At this point, we've built all the essential rooms that we would need in a survival base. But it's still boring down here because there's nothing to keep ourselves entertained. So for this next room, I want to build a complete movie theater. The first thing that every movie theater needs are nice couches that you can recline on. So I built these functional ones that a minifig can actually lay down in. And for the screen, I built this giant one using flat plates. And to enhance the movie experience, here's some giant speakers, a popcorn machine for snacks, and some movie posters. Nice. Okay, we just built the at-home version of a movie theater. But even with this entertainment, there's nothing to keep our Lego man physically active down here. So I say for this next room, we build a giant indoor gym. And it looks like we're officially out of space for this first layer, so we're gonna have to dig down to a deeper level. The first thing I'm gonna add are 2 rock climbing walls. And to build the rocks that you grab onto, I use these stud pieces. And to make our minifig wanna climb the wall, I hung a bunch of money on the ceiling. I also built a treadmill, and to get him to run on it, I built this contraption that hangs a hot dog in front of his head. I'm also gonna add a bench press and a rack to hang up different sizes of weights.
Come on, get those reps. Yeah! Woo!
This is now the biggest room in our survival base, and after a complete workout, his health has increased, and now he's rocking a 6-pack. And after that workout, our muscles are gonna be super swole, so I'm gonna quickly speed build another room with a hot tub with lots of tropical plants to make this place feel relaxing. Another room I want to add to the survival base is a game room with arcade machines, so it's time to clear out some more space. I want to include all the different types of arcade games, so here's a driving simulation game. I also built this arcade game, which is a first-person shooter. And finally, I'm gonna add one of those dancing games with the squares on the floor you're supposed to hit with your feet. And at some of the arcades I've been to, there's also bowling. So I built this tiny bowling lane with pins and a bowling ball for our Lego man. Come on, let's get a strike. Let's go!